Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katrina and today we are going to be talking about some of my predictions for summer trends in knitting and crochet as well. So this video is going to be more of like an inspiration video with ideas, but it's not going to be necessarily like a pattern roundup, although I will be sharing one pattern for each of my 10 predictions to kind of give you a rolling start on like how you can tackle that trend. And then I'm going to be showing images on the screen here, which is why I'm sitting off to the side a little bit to show you guys what I'm talking about. But if you want to go back and look at those images later, or if you just want them compiled in a space and maybe a couple extras, I will have the Pinterest board that I made linked down below in the description. So if you want to check back into that, then just go ahead and click right there. I think that's everything we need to talk about to start. Make sure you grab yourself a little beverage and grab your knitting and we can get right into it. I'm actually drinking my homemade iced caramel macchiato today and I definitely need it because I'm always tired. But who doesn't love a little afternoon coffee, right? Maybe some people don't, but I love it. Okay, my first trend prediction for the summertime is going to be more ballet core. So we kind of saw ballet core being in last summer and the last few seasons, and I think we're going to be seeing this coming in again, as well as like the bows and leg warmers and everything that kind of went along with that, but in a little bit more of an abstract way now. And I also think we're going to be seeing a lot of the pink tones that you picture for ballet, especially with like the Barbie movie coming out last summer and bright pinks being all the rage. I think that will still continue, but as well, like maybe some softer baby pinks will be in. And not only that, but getting a little bit more creative with the colors, but fundamentally those really soft shapes and those coquette style techniques. I think that's going to be really popular again. So my pattern suggestion, if you want to lean into the ballet core, is the Robinson wrap cardigan by Florence Miller. This cardigan is, well, it's more of a wrap top, but this cardigan is really great to encompass this trend. You get the little bow from tying it up, and you can really play around with color. Like the sample photo is just a plain color, but I think playing around with color for this one would really lean into that version of the trend that I think we're going to be seeing. So the Robinson wrap cardigan is knit in a DK weight yarn on 4mm, 3.5mm, and 3mm needles. So very interesting pattern. And there's sizes available A through I. So we love the size range, and it only takes 766 to 2,000 yards of yarn depending on what size you're making, but I feel like that's pretty reasonable for a top. And that's the great thing about summer knits too, is you can kind of get away with buying less yarn for your makes because they usually take less yarn. So that is my first trend prediction, is more ballet core, more coquette style pieces. My second trend prediction is going to be variegated hand-dyed yarn and using this in our knitting more. So obviously this is something that's not really a trend because everyone always loves this, but I think we're going to be seeing more of this happening because for a while there, in the knitting sphere at least, the trend really was leaning towards like having pieces that looked as much like store-bought clothing as possible, and I hope to either start this movement myself or see others lean towards how can we make things look as handmade as possible and something that can't be recreated by fast fashion. And I feel like doing this and making this trendy is something that could help push people towards maybe making some of their own pieces, because at the end of the day, if you can't buy something from fast fashion, you might be more willing to try to make it yourself, especially if it's fairly simple. So like this trend, super simple, you just need to get some cool yarn. And I feel like especially with going to yarn festivals and things, It's very exciting to find lots of fun hand-dyed yarns, and you never really know what projects to use for them. So I think really leaning into this trend will be really great for people who like to buy hand-dyed yarn, because who doesn't? My suggestion for this trend, pattern-wise, is the Mega Solar. So the Mega Solar blouse by Spectacle. So the sample that was knit for this is using this variegated yarn, and it really just works super well and is so fun. The yarn actually used in the pattern and it's suggested is called Galaxy Glow yarn, and I'll link their website down below because they have really cool stuff. But I just think like this is something that I haven't really seen a lot from designers using in their samples, and it's something that I would love to see more of in the summer, and I think it's going to be pretty trendy. So yeah, that's number 2. So my next trend prediction is going to be seeing more matching sets, specifically for matching lounge sets, but any kind of matching sets like a top and a skirt, or top and shorts, anything like that. But I think this will be really nice for summer lounging around at home, but then can be brought out for like casual little get-togethers, because when you're wearing something that's matching, it automatically feels a little bit fancier, which is super nice. So I think this could be really fun, and I think this trend and a lot of these other trends can be overlapped with, so for example, the color changing yarns could be mixed with this matching set trend, and you can choose like really summery colors, or you can do really neutral colors for all year round. It's really up to you, but matching sets I think were pretty popular last year, and I think they're going to come back even stronger this year. My matching set suggestion, pattern suggestion, is the Lana Lounge set by Not the End & Co. Not the End Co. So the Lana Lounge set by Not the End Co. This is knit with 6mm needles on bulky weight yarn, and it does have a fairly large size range. So the bust range for this pattern is 26 inches to 54 inches. My next trend prediction, last year we saw a lot of long dresses, and that was kind of something that was quite trendy last year. But I think this year that will still be popular, but maybe leaning more towards mid-length dresses or even shorter dresses. And I think this will go for dresses knit as well as crocheted dresses. And I think all around you could either go for a really boho beachy style with this, or take it back and have it be a little bit more classic looking. It's really up to what you choose, but either way, this just shape of that mid-length to short dress I think is going to be really popular when it comes to knitting and crochet. So my pattern suggestion for this trend is the Nada dress by Maria Iseva, and this pattern came out last year, was really popular when it came out, but I think for good reason. It's such a timeless shape and piece, and I think it would be really fun to knit up. Definitely a challenge. It would take a long time, but so worth the effort. So this is knit in DK weight with 4mm and 3.5mm needles, and the sizes available are 1 through 12. So that is the 4th trend prediction, and dresses, mid-length dresses. I think that would be so fun to make. I definitely want to make the Nada dress this year if I have time. I feel like that's a really big commitment, but it would definitely be worth it for the outcome because it's such a beautiful piece, and you really can't get store-bought knit dresses that look the way handmade knit dresses look. Like, they just have a really relaxed look to them that I think is really hard to recreate. So that is that. Now my 5th trend prediction that I think we're going to be seeing is mixing a lot of knit with crochet. Definitely this is something that can't be recreated by fast fashion, or would be hard for them to create, because crochet, as we all know, has to be done by hand, by a person. It can't be machine made. So I think knit pieces with little crochet elements could be really cool and unique and look really like handmade, but in a really beautiful high fashion way. So my pattern suggestion for this trend is the Pebble Top Solo by Lena Holm Samso. It's just a really pretty tank top, and then the edges have little crochet details, and it's such a beautiful summer piece. It's exactly what I was picturing for this trend, and I think this will be really popular this year. So this is knit in sport weight with 3mm needles, and the sizes range from extra small to 2XL. I don't even know how to finish my sentences ever. This is the Pebble Top. It's pretty. I think it's great, and it should be quick to make. Something that has been becoming more popular the last couple of years is abstract color work. So this is number 6, is abstract color work. So not actually like trying to make little designs or little patterns or repetitions, just like chaos color work basically. So I think this will be really fun because once again, this would be really hard to recreate with machine. It has this really beautiful handmade feel to it that's really hard to recreate. And the, what's it called? The color work can be either like color changing yarns, or if you have a lot of scraps, making something with your scraps can be so cool. And this can range from super colorful, like every different color in the rainbow, to maybe kind of a monochromatic or analogous color palette of scrappy yarns or color changing yarns, anything like that. I just think we'll see more of this play with color because it's so different than what like you're able to get made fast fashion wise. Like this is, you have to kind of make this yourself, I feel like. So my suggestion for this isn't necessarily a pattern, but it is a book because I feel like when it comes to doing abstract color work, no one can really teach you, or no one can really just like write out a pattern and be like, do it exactly like this, because the whole point of it is to be unique and different for every single piece. So my suggestion to you is Lark Bagger's book called Close Knit, and they really go through the details of their different color work techniques and how you can achieve them. So it's not necessarily a pattern, but it gives you the techniques and how you can apply them to any pattern you want, or even if you're like self-drafting something. So I think this is a really great way to dive into this trend, is checking out this book. Or, you know, you can just wing it yourself too. It doesn't seem super complicated to, you know, just take some of your colors, try different colors out, and even if you don't feel really confident with experimenting with colors, like maybe you don't feel like you're good at making color palettes that work well together, you would be surprised how your brain picks colors that you like all the time, and then those colors will kind of go together. So if you're going for something scrappy, if you go through all the scraps of yarn that you've used to make things, you're probably going to find a trend in the colors that you like in your color palette. And I have a feeling that those colors will probably work pretty well together. So if you're really lost on, like, I don't know what colors to use, just lay out some of your scraps and you might start to see something cool happening with your colors. And the thing is, everyone has such a unique taste in what they like to make, and I've definitely seen people just go through their scraps and let loose, and you can really see the unique style of each person through their scrap yarns and how those look together. So just play around with it. I don't think you can really go wrong with this, but I definitely think this is going to be really big this summer. Another thing is, and I've kind of talked about this in another video where it was kind of my winter and spring inspiration, but I think this will carry on to summer, and I've definitely seen this getting popular last year, and I think it'll start to get even more popular this year, and that is unique textures. So any kind of textural elements with different knitting techniques, even like what I'm working on currently, I'm going to release a pattern for a little scarf with linen stitch. So even that just being kind of a different texture than regular knitting, I think is going to be super cool. And once again, way less likely to be recreated by machine. So I think like, yeah, different stitch types, lace work, eyelets, all these different sort of techniques are going to be really, really trendy this summer, especially because a lot of these textures can be a little bit more lightweight. Like some of the lace ones are a little airier and more breathable, which works great for when you live in a warmer climate during the summer too. So definitely think textural knits are going to be super big, and one that I find so pretty, and I'm sorry that I keep choosing long sleeve tops. I think my preference is just long sleeve even in the summertime, but you can obviously choose tank tops with these different kind of textures, but my suggestion was blouse number 2. I really like the way that the stitches look and the overall fabric that is created for this. Yeah, so this blouse number 2 has this really beautiful kind of lace texture to it with little eyelets and things, and it's so interesting and very beachy kind of summery. So overall, I think this is a really beautiful texture. Once again, DK weight. Oh, wow, make sure you stock up on DK weight in your stash because I feel like a lot of my suggestions have been DK weight. The needle recommendation is 4mm needles, and the size range is extra small to 4XL. So pretty great size range, and that is blouse number 2. Love it. So kind of playing off talking about textures for the summer, number 8 is kind of along the same lines but a little more specific. So my number 8 trend prediction is holey knits. Obviously we've seen this before, this has been happening for a while, but I think this might start to get more like surgence in the mainstream. So what I mean by holey knits, I don't mean like holy knits, I mean like lots of holes in them. So basically, just having a looser tension, so the yarn is really lightweight, but the needles are bigger, and then you get this really lightweight kind of, what's the effect? It just kind of like a cloud, sort of, especially when people use a really fuzzy texture like a mohair or an alpaca suri. This looks like so ethereal and light and kind of magical. I don't know. It's got this like really pretty cloud-like way that it looks, and I think this would be so nice, especially the little boleros and little layering pieces. So the thing about these really holey knits, why they're so great for summer, is because fashion and outfits can always be elevated by layering. Like I feel like layering is such an easy way to get more out of your outfit or elevate the look. So layering can be hard in the summer because it's too hot to layer things usually. So that's why these holey knits come in a great way, because they're so lightweight, they're not going to make you too hot, but you're able to layer and get that nice effect of layering. And also with them looking kind of see-through, you can really do some cool stuff showing off like what you're wearing underneath, and having the really lightweight piece on top creates lots of dimension, and overall I think is such a gorgeous look, and I think we'll be seeing more of this summer. So I personally feel like you can self-draft for this trend really easily, or you can literally take any pattern you already have and go down in weight of yarn and go up in needle size and try to create this effect. But one top that kind of has a similar effect, it's not exactly what I'm picturing and showing you on the screen right now with Pinterest, but it kind of also has a similar effect with the holes, is the Look at My Holes top by James and Watt. So this is a suggestion if you're kind of feeling nervous about going down the path of chaos knitting. This is like a good introductory pattern written out so you can play around with this, and then if you want to get more into experimenting yourself, then you can go ahead and mix up your needle size, mix up your yarn size, and try it yourself. But once again, we have DK weight yarn, and the needle size is 5.5mm and 3.75mm, and the sizes range from extra small to 5XL. So super fun. I think this top is so cute. This is obviously something that already exists in the world, but I think they're gonna really pop off this year. So number 9 is knit and crochet tote bags. Especially since in Canada, like I guess a couple years ago or kind of recently, we've banned the use of plastic bags. So bringing your own tote bag is such a great idea, and if you make it yourself too, you'll be able to remember better, like, oh, I need to bring my little bag with me when I go out. And another way that this is super cute is using your tote bag as a purse and not really carrying a purse but carrying a tote instead. I actually saw a really smart TikTok about this too, where someone was talking about how they like to carry a tote bag when they're like on the subway or in busy areas because it's harder to pickpocket from you, because they're like, if I can barely find my wallet in the bottom of my bag, someone trying to pickpocket me is not going to be able to find it easy either. So I thought that was actually really smart, and so great if you're maybe going to go to a concert, something crowded, or a little like festival in the summertime. It's really great to have a tote bag, or also, like if you're going to do a picnic or something, or if you need to bring a lot of stuff to the beach, tote bag, super easy, great idea, lightweight. Who doesn't love a good tote bag? We're bringing the tote bags in a big way this summer. So I actually have 2 suggestions for tote bags because I couldn't pick because they're both so fun. So this first one is kind of like modern and sleek. So this is the dumpling bag by Gianni Lee. My voice just cracked. By Gianni Lee. And the yarn weight is DK weight. Oh, such a broken record with the DK weight, you guys. Even the pattern, my lichen scarf that I'm testing right now is DK weight too. So I feel like I'm on such a DK weight kick right now. I'm sorry. I can't help myself, okay? It's a great yarn weight. Okay. So yeah, DK weight yarn. The needle size is 3.75 millimeter. And it's just one size, obviously, because it's a tote bag. So, oh, and it only takes 165 yards of yarn, which is pretty great. Like, if you could probably get away with using leftover yarn if you have a lot left over for something like this, or just getting a small amount. So I think that is super great. So cute. And the shape of it is just so pretty. And modern and gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. This is super fun. This other tote bag is totally opposite direction, but kind of leaning towards some of the other trends I was talking about. So this is the Faye Fringe bag by Anna Scala. And it's just over the top, colorful, fun, a lot of texture. It kind of encompasses a lot of the other trends that I talked about. Big texture, color work, abstract color work, kind of all these different things. It's very fun and it would be such a great project bag, or just once again like a purse alternative. Super great. So this uses bulky weight, super bulky weight yarn and 9mm needles. And I think there's also a little bit of crochet involved because it uses a 10mm hook and a 5.5mm hook. So once again, this encompasses another one of the trends I talked about earlier, which is combining knitting and crochet. So this is the bag of the summer, you guys. I'm calling it now. And yeah, it only takes 240 to 250 yards of yarn. And also comes in one size because it's a bag. So we are on to my last knitting crochet trend. This one is hard to call it a trend because in the knitting and crochet world, this is like a very go-to thing. But if you're not in knitting and crochet, like the outside realm, this isn't as common, and I think it could get really popular this year. So my 10th trend is knit/crochet swimwear. So we've seen a lot of crochet swimwear and a lot of that boho kind of style, but in my head I'm picturing like the kind of fun abstract color work style, as well as the like knit. I kind of am seeing like a lot of the bralette patterns that we've been seeing in the knit realm, but using those bralette patterns as swimwear, like bikini tops. It's hard to find because there's not really a lot of it going on and not really a lot of patterns for it, like for what I'm picturing. But I feel like knit swimwear could be really interesting and really cool. So I found one pattern for the knit swimwear, and this is called the Love Your Body Bikini by Camilla Vibe Hestrup. So such a great name. I feel like definitely that is the mantra we're going to be going into this summer with, is like love your body. So what a great bikini for this summer. Finally, we have something different. So this is fingering weight yarn and 3.25 millimeter needles. And you need about 325 to 820 yards, and there are a couple sizes available, so 1 through 7, so kind of an A cup to an H cup is what it says. But as we know, like, cup sizing is a little bit confusing, especially with swimwears, so I would just read the pattern details to find out what size to make for this. Oh, and before I get into the last pattern, another way that I think the knit bikinis slash bralettes will be worn is with what I talked about earlier, the really holey knits. I think combining those two and layering those two, so you have something kind of small underneath, but then like a holier thing sort of on top, so you get that kind of like see-through look, but you're wearing a top, but sort of that kind of thing underneath. I think that'll be really cute, especially for the beach, like beach cover-ups with the holey ones and your cute little knit bikini. I think it's super fun. So the last pattern, because I had to throw one more in for this one as well to show a crochet pattern that I think works great, is the Crochet Bikini by Jenna Phipps. And I like the way she uses different colors while crocheting to get that kind of abstract effect that we've been talking about earlier as well. This only comes in 2 sizes, but because it's crochet, I feel like it's quite easy to just measure on your body and then go around a couple more times to make it fit the way it needs to. And then same thing for the bottoms. You kind of have the little straps for the sides, so it's not super important if it doesn't like fit you, because it's going to fit you when you tie up the sides, if that makes sense. I think that makes sense. So it should be okay, and it should work in theory, is what I'm saying, for most people. Once again, DK weight yarn. And then a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. And Jenna also uses swim lining, which is optional, but I think is a great idea just to make sure this is really good for swimming, you know? And elastic for the edges, but I feel like you could also do an I-cord, so it's totally up to you as well. That's what I have for you guys today. Let me know what you think of my trend predictions. You can let me know if you think this is silly because you already think these are trending and like, duh, they're going to be trending this year, or if you haven't heard of some of these things, or if these ideas are new to you. Let me know. I want to know your feedback, and we can have like a conversation about it in the comments. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next video. So bye guys.